You have exactly 1 hour. My director slid a cardboard box across my desk like he was doing me a favor. Pack your things. His voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. The entire accounting department had already gone silent. Even the office printer seemed to stop making noise. I looked up from my laptop. I'm sorry, what? You heard me. He folded his arms and leaned against my cubicle. Your access has already been revoked. Almost on cue, my computer screen went black. I couldn't help but laugh. Not because it was funny. Because the timing was almost theatrical. If someone had added dramatic music, it would have looked like the finale of a low-budget office movie. The IT guy standing behind my director gave me an awkward shrug that practically said, "Please don't hate me. I'm just following orders." My name is Emma Brooks, I said. And until 5 minutes ago, I thought today was going to be a normal Tuesday. Apparently, I was wrong. 3 years earlier, my father made one of the strangest requests I'd ever heard. If you want to inherit Brooks Technologies, you'll start at the bottom. Not in management. Not in an executive office. Not with a reserved parking space. He wanted me to understand every department before joining the board. So I started exactly where every new employee started. Cubicle 47. Second floor. Accounting support. No one knew who I was. Not even human resources. Only my father, the company attorney, and the chairman of the board knew the truth. Everyone else believed I was another employee trying to climb the corporate ladder. Honestly, I preferred it that way. For 3 years, I learned everything. How customer complaints were handled. How projects were approved. How budgets mysteriously changed after executive meetings. Most importantly, I learned who treated people with respect when nobody important was watching. And one name kept appearing. Victor Lang, Regional Director. The kind of manager who believed fear was a leadership strategy. Victor loved public humiliation. He'd criticize employees during meetings. Correct grammar in emails just to embarrass people. Once, he made an intern cry because she accidentally scheduled a meeting for 2:30 instead of 3 o'clock. His response? Maybe office work isn't for everyone. Even the coffee machine seemed nervous whenever Victor walked into the break room. Someone once joked that the espresso tasted bitter because it knew Victor was coming. We laughed. Quietly. Very quietly. For months, I'd been documenting complaints. Not because I wanted revenge. Because numbers tell stories. Employee turnover. Exit interviews. Anonymous surveys. Missing expense reports. Vendor complaints. Everything pointed to one department. Victor's. The board had already planned to review my findings at this afternoon's quarterly meeting. Victor didn't know that. He thought today was just another Tuesday. Unfortunately for him, he also thought firing me would erase the evidence. He tossed another document onto my desk. Sign your termination papers. I picked them up. Reason for termination. Poor performance. Failure to support departmental objectives. I actually looked behind me. Surely he meant someone else. Per performance? Victor smiled. Don't act surprised. Your attitude has become a problem. My attitude? Questioning leadership. You mean asking why invoices were approved without signatures? His smile disappeared. I mean exactly what I said. Around us, coworkers pretended to work while secretly listening. Jessica from payroll suddenly became very interested in a spreadsheet she'd been staring at upside down for the last 3 minutes. Even Kevin, who never noticed anything unless free donuts were involved, slowly rolled his chair closer. Victor pointed toward the cardboard box. You have 1 hour. I stood, picked up the box, then smiled. You know, I was hoping today would be interesting. Victor laughed. Oh, trust me. It will be. He had absolutely no idea. He'd just fired the woman who would be sitting at the head of the boardroom table in less than an hour. I packed slowly. Not because I had much to take. Just a family photo. A coffee mug that read, "World's Okayest Accountant." It had been a secret Santa gift from Kevin, who still insisted it was professionally motivational. And a small notebook. That notebook mattered. It contained 3 years of handwritten observations. Names. Dates. Meetings. Conversations. Things spreadsheets couldn't explain. As I reached for my coat, Jessica quietly walked over. I'm really sorry, Emma. It's okay. No, it's not. She lowered her voice. Everyone knows you've been carrying this department. I smiled. Then maybe today we'll finally solve that problem. She looked confused. What do you mean? You'll see. Security walked me to the lobby. The guard, Marcus, looked embarrassed. I hate days like this. I know. As he handed me a visitor badge to exit the building, he whispered, For what it's worth. I don't think you deserve this. I laughed. Marcus, can I ask you a favor? Sure. Don't leave at 5. He frowned. Why? I think you'll enjoy what happens around 4. He laughed. I'll bring popcorn. Good idea. At exactly 3:58 p.m., a black SUV pulled into the executive parking area. Then another. Then another. Board members stepped out one by one. Victor noticed them through the conference room window. He straightened his tie. Everyone looked sharp. The board only visits twice a year. He had no idea. Today's meeting wasn't routine. The chairman entered first. Behind him was the company attorney. Then my father, Richard Brooks, founder and CEO of Brooks Technologies. Everyone stood. Victor smiled confidently. Mr. Brooks, welcome. My father nodded politely. Let's begin. Victor launched into a polished presentation filled with colorful charts and carefully rehearsed numbers. He spoke for 15 minutes about productivity, leadership, employee accountability. Then he proudly announced, This afternoon I made a difficult decision. I terminated an underperforming employee whose negative attitude was affecting the team. My father asked calmly, What was her name? Emma Brooks. The room became strangely quiet. The company attorney slowly closed his folder. The chairman looked toward the door. Would you ask her to come in? Victor chuckled. I'm afraid that's impossible. I had security escort her out. My father smiled. Did you? He pressed the intercom. Please send Ms. Brooks inside. The conference room doors opened. I walked in carrying the same cardboard box. Victor looked like he'd seen a ghost. Emma? I set the box on the table. Then I took the only empty seat. At the head of the table. Victor blinked twice. I don't understand. The chairman folded his hands. Allow me. 3 years ago, Ms. Emma Brooks agreed to work anonymously throughout this company. She did so at the request of our founder. Her assignment was simple. Learn the business, evaluate leadership, and determine who was building this company and who was quietly damaging it. Victor's face lost all color. The chairman continued. She is the majority shareholder. And effective today. He smiled at me. Our new executive chair. Nobody moved. Even the air conditioning seemed to stop. Victor looked at my father. You knew. I did. You let her work in accounting? Yes. You let people treat her like. He stopped talking. Because he finally understood. My father leaned forward. Victor, do you know what Emma's reports focused on? Victor remained silent. Not profits. Not sales. People. Because financial losses can be recovered. But once leaders destroy trust, companies begin to rot from the inside. The attorney slid a thick file across the table. Inside were employee complaints, exit interviews, vendor reports, anonymous surveys. Every page carried Victor's name. The chairman spoke quietly. You didn't lose your position because you fired Emma. You lost it because you spent 6 years firing the wrong people. Victor looked at me. I'm sorry. I smiled politely. I believe you are. But apologies don't rebuild cultures. They rebuild character. The board voted unanimously to remove Victor from his position. As security escorted him toward the door, Marcus caught my eye from the hallway. He grinned and mimed eating popcorn. I nearly laughed. Later that afternoon, I walked through the accounting department. No announcements. No victory speech. Just one simple sentence. I'm not here to remind you who owns this company. I'm here to build a company where no one ever has to fear the person they report to. The room erupted into applause. Not because the owner had returned, but because, for the first time in years, hope had returned with her. If there's one lesson I learned, it's this. Authority can make people obey you, Character is what makes them want to follow you. Subscribe to Hidden Truth Chronicles for more unforgettable workplace revenge stories where integrity always has the final word.